Betties. Thanks for tuning in for our podcast. I'm Bethany.
And I'm Kristin.
And we are your Boob Tube Betties. And tonight we are covering the premiere of Feud on FX. In the beginning, that was, of course, my impression of Faye Dunaway playing Joan Crawford in the movie Mommy Dearest, which I think I've seen at least 20 times. Have you seen Mommy Dearest?
Yes, I have. Not 20
so
times.
Good. Tonight, however, we are talking about a different Joan Crawford story, the tumultuous relationship with her co-star, Bette Davis, and their experience on the making of Whatever Happened to Baby Jane. Also, we've got a couple of super fun segments for you. Feud Tube Buddies, which features our fellow Boob Tube buddy, Adam, who I'm married to. No big deal. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. And he wouldn't let me listen to it, so I'm thinking he's probably...
Oh, you didn't get to listen to it?
Did you get to listen to it?
Oh my god, you didn't get to listen to it?
For whatever reason...
I'm just kidding.
Okay.
I'm just fucking with you.
How come you get the news from Adam way before I do? So
I subscribe to Patreon.
Yeah.
That's why.
I believe he's covering other famous Hollywood feuds, but he has not let us listen to it, so we shall see.
Bring it on.
Bring it on, motherfucker.
I might not know foreign policy. And
But
I might not know algebra, but I know my fucking celebrity feuds.
Oh, and we've got, oh my god, you know who that is, right?
Oh my god.
You know, there wasn't a weirder way for me to have pronounced that. Oh, sorry, Adam's walking around the background stalking us. He's creeping. But that segment is where we cover one of the backup actors, I guess you could say, that appears in Feud, and we're going to tell you where and how you recognize them from their previous works. If you've been following our podcast of Big Little Lies, you'll already know. Thank you. That's it. But we do it on there as well. Speaking of other stuff we've got going on, head over to boobtubebetties.com, check out the other shows we're reviewing with the rest of the buddies, and follow us on social media. Drop us a line at boobtubebetties@gmail.com. We read everything. We welcome thoughts, questions, concerns, and we'll address it on the podcast. Before we dive in, one last thing I would like to say thank you, Kristin. You recommended an awesome podcast, which I think you're going to talk about, that just gave an awesome history lesson into...
She's amazing.
Specifically Joan Crawford, but then the feud with Bette Davis, and a lot of stuff that I thought was true wasn't true. And anyway, super interesting. And then you also let me borrow the movie, Whatever Happened to Baby Jane. So for the first time, I feel actually prepared for a podcast.
I'm excited.
So... do you have any housekeeping?
I got two things. Just one to add on to yours. The podcast she's referring to is You Must Remember This with Karina Longworth. She writes, edits, does everything for this podcast. She is a genius, and definitely check that out. And also, I just want to give a shout out to new listener, Karen Kreiner. Thank you for inquiring, and thank you for listening, and I hope you continue to listen.
Yay, new listener!
Yay!
Let's see. There was something else I wanted to say. Well, it's not written down, so it doesn't exist.
Shit out of luck.
Okay, so is that everything? Oh, I know what I wanted to do.
Are we going to start our fight now?
Yeah. I wanted to cheers with you.
No, I'm just going to try to start a fight the entire way.
Cheers. Cheers to Feud.
Woo!
I wish we had classy flasks to pour into.
I know, right?
Just these cans of Coors Light.
Nothing but class up in here.
Episode 1, pilot. Rated TV, MA, L, and it definitely had L. I was surprised they could see that stuff on FX.
My favorite was I don't remember who did it. It was like Up Rocks or Bustle or something. Did a web article today.
Oh, a web article, you said?
This show makes me want to go old school.
Yeah.
And literally the line was, "We finally use cunt on TV."
Yes.
It literally was the line.
I couldn't believe it.
I know.
And
I love that it was Stanley Tucci who delivered it.
And you could tell he was really enjoying saying it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm sorry if you're one of those people who hate that word. I just think it's a great word. Coming from a female, I love that word.
Great word. I told you earlier, but I decided to write my notes in cursive to be old-timey. Speaking of being old-timey.
Nice. You're like, now I don't understand them.
I couldn't read it while I was typing them, and I can tell that I didn't read. I couldn't understand them because some of this doesn't make sense. Fun fact.
Let's do it.
Did you finish your housekeeping?
I did.
Okay. I read that Ryan Murphy wrote two... Oh, wait. Did you tell me this? That he wrote a fan letter to Bette Davis. He's only ever written 2 fan letters. And that she actually
I knew about it. I just didn't know if I told. Maybe I didn't. I don't know. Did I
maybe you did. I don't. But that they met and that that she was inspiring to him. So I wonder if that will show. You know, maybe he favors Bette Davis to Joan Crawford.
For it.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see if that...
Well, to add on to that, a lot of stuff that I read and listened to about the whole production of Whatever Happened to Baby Jane in preparation of this, a lot of sympathy went towards Joan Crawford. So if they're doing their research and use any of the stuff that maybe I saw or anything, a lot of the sympathy goes towards Joan. So that would actually give it a good balance.
Yeah.
So I like that.
I think so. I mean, we'll talk about it more, but I have a totally different opinion of those 2 actresses
Me too.
than what was in my head.
Me too.
Fascinating women.
Mad respect.
Yeah. What's that quote? That amazing quote, that Bette Davis quote that
where she's like, it's easy for me to play a bitch because I'm a lady, and that's why
who Miss Crawford always
always gets to play or should play a lady.
Yes, that was good.
We'll get that line down and we'll say it again.
Yeah, that was it. We nailed it.
We murdered it.
Opening, we see Olivia de Havilland, and she's talking about Joan Crawford and Bette Davis.
Olivia de Havilland. I'm going to fast forward super much right now because of this. She, years after this movie was made, they wanted to do a follow-up called Whatever Happened to Cousin Charlotte.
Yes.
And they had Joan Crawford on board, and she ended up being replaced by Olivia de Havilland.
Yes.
And it was released called Hush Hush, Sweet Charlotte.
Now, is that the movie where Joan was in hospital for a long time, and then
they ended up releasing it, but they didn't call it Whatever Happened to Cousin Charlotte. They called it Hush Hush, Sweet Charlotte.
Oh, okay.
And it was released in 1964.
So whatever this is, it's because we see it again later on in the episode with
Kathy Bates.
Yes, who I forget that actress is, but the
Joan Blondell.
Yes.
I remember it because it's Joan's name and Bette Davis is blonde.
Oh,
so Joan Blondell is how
I
remembered it. And next week, I think they're going to have Sarah Paulson as Geraldine Page. So I think this is going to be a consistent
so it's
thing.
like some sort of documentary they're doing on the 2 women?
Yeah,
Ryan
Murphy just can't let the documentary thing go.
Yeah, right.
Did you not feel like you were watching Agnes the first 5 seconds when she starts... I'm talking about Kathy Bates as Agnes, when she's doing the documentary and she's looking at the camera and she's so excited about her, like, talking about it. I was like, I feel like I was watching Agnes talking about... Kathy Bates playing Agnes on American Horror Story.
This last season, yeah.
I felt like she was, like, so psyched and she had that look on her face like Agnes had.
I just love Kathy Bates.
Me too.
She makes me smile.
She's like, I made this movie once.
I didn't realize she was in this, so that made me happy. I do like what Olivia de Havilland says, that Bette Davis was the best actress ever known, and that Joan Crawford, all men wanted her and women wanted to be her. They hate each other and we love them for it.
Oh yeah, and I like what she says about feuds.
They aren't about hate.
They're about pain.
Pain. It's like she said it. She's like, that's a good line.
Did Catherine Zeta-Jones and Kathy Bates have the same wig?
I don't know, but it looked like they powdered Catherine Zeta-Jones' face
to make her look whiter.
Yeah,
yes.
Weird.
Absolutely, no doubt.
Because I googled Olivia de Havilland, and
I'm offended.
Just very cock looking. Cock being short for Caucasian.
Change approved.
She's a straight up cock.
She looks like such a cock.
Oh, but so they added all that powder to make her look more cocky, I guess.
Yeah, definitely more cocky.
It reminded me of who's that amazing comedian who had his own Comedy Central.
Dave Chappelle, where he does the wig.
Yes. They hired the makeup person from Comedy Central. We gotta cock her up a little bit.
Let's get the cock guy in here. Where's the cock guy? Makes everyone look like a cock.
So So I thought of you in this next scene, the Golden Globes, because you're such a Marilyn fan.
Oh my god. Okay, so I even have a note that the girl who played her, like in the background, her voice was so on point.
Who was that? Because that's who I was going to...
She's a bit actress. Okay. She's not in anything.
Okay.
I had to look it up because nobody... I mean, Mina Sorvino kind of got it, but not a lot of people can get the Marilyn voice down. Mm-hmm. They can try, but it's a very
affected voice.
It's like kind of high pitched, but like the way she was like, oh, and I didn't mean to, and I should have something prepared. Like, it's the very like breathy, like, I'm out of breath, but I'm so whatever. And see, nobody can do it. And the fact that she could do it,
is that all she does? Is she a Marilyn Monroe impersonator?
No, I wanted to know if they just like got one, but she was just some rando.
I'm like Joan Crawford, drunk at the table, and like, I've got great tits too, but I don't shove them in everyone's face. And
so you're not like Joan Crawford.
Yeah, that's true.
So you're the opposite of Joan Crawford.
I love it. Like the dichotomy between sweet Marilyn Monroe and Joan Crawford's drunk, smoky voice. And
I mean, I think
that her boyfriend who shushes her?
Yeah, I think at that point, if I was at that point in her career and watching Marilyn Monroe give that speech at the Golden Globes, I'd be like, oh, fucking hate.
So that didn't happen that year.
And you want to be like, don't worry, Joan. Just give it a year. She'll be gone. Because it's 1961 and she died in 62.
But they're messing with the timing of this because that Golden Globes either had already happened. I think it happened the year before. Mm-hmm. But that's okay. That's fine.
How dare them? Well, they have to because it was released in 62 and it's leading up to the making of, so I guess they would have to.
But that didn't, yeah, whatever. But the timing of it that's not when it happened. It either happened after Baby Jane or way before, but I did read that was true. Like, she was wasted at that Golden Globes. People remember, like, she couldn't even walk.
And that's why you should be able to drink at every award show.
And that the feud actually between Joan and Marilyn was much nastier than the feud between Joan and Betty.
Joan and Betty, let's put it on the table. A lot of that was Hollywood push.
Oh, yeah. And then they played into it because they knew.
Yeah, they ate it up because they knew they had fledgling?
Flatulence.
No.
They knew that there was an issue with flatulence. Fledgling?
Yeah, right? Okay. A fledgling career. Like, towards the end.
Well, fledgling means, like, a burgeoning career.
Oh,
you mean their career was, like, petering off?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Flatulence, big peters.
I did mean flatulence.
They were having... Their careers were
flatulent.
Their
career was going into the pooper, is what I'm trying to say. God, I love being recorded sounding like an idiot.
And what's really funny is the interview at the end. Again, this guy... Kyle, thank you, Kyle, so much for your interview. Did I say that in the intro?
No.
Oh my gosh, I meant to say that. We have a cool. It's just for the sake of being honest here. We're recording 2 podcasts back to back, and I've got notes for both podcasts next to me. So, forgive me for being even more stumbly than
we
normal.
have a Reddit,
a subreddit. His name is Kyle, and he's an expert on all things. I think he actually majors in cinematography.
He does, and specifically old Hollywood.
Old Hollywood. And we're going to have him at the end, and he is going to pretty much more eloquently sum up what we're doing right now.
Yes.
But I didn't say it before, but thank you so much, Kyle. And if anyone else wants to do that, again, you can do that. Send it to us, boobtubebetties@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Back to the show.
Sorry. And we're back.
Let's see. Joan Crawford's house.
Yes, and Hedda Hopper. The original Perez Hilton.
Yeah.
Comes and sees her, and she wants to get like a mean quote about Marilyn from Joan, and pretty much threatens like, listen, you're either going to give me a quote, or I'm going to tell him a valet saw you wasted outside.
Joan's an easy mark. You know, she knows how to ruffle her feathers. But I do love that Joan says something about, I don't accept unannounced guests, not even my children.
Yes.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is actually true. She was very staunch about that.
Oh, yeah.
I read that when I was reading about the Christine Crawford, Mommy Dearest stuff.
Yeah, she seems
Which, Christine Crawford seems like a bitch.
Yeah, she
just
does.
saying.
A little rigid, like her mom.
Yeah, exactly.
You can write books and you can try hard, but you still end up like your mom.
That's her only claim to fame with the movie and that book.
And also, to add to that, Joan Crawford definitely had plastic all over every piece of furniture. That part was true.
I know that's a cultural thing for some.
I feel like it takes away from the aesthetic.
Oh, yeah. And comfort.
Yeah.
And, like, just buy a cheap couch.
Yeah.
Anyway. But I wasn't drunk. I only drink Pepsi Cola. And then she does give the quote about Marilyn Manson. Marilyn Manson! I read vulgar, and it was a Freudian slip. Marilyn Monroe being vulgar.
Yeah.
Some find Manson vulgar, too.
Yeah.
Just depends what your...
There's similarities in that.
Joan sounds very jealous.
Yeah. She sounds jealous, and it's probably what she truly feels. She just, like, was definitely egged on to do it.
Oh, yeah, definitely. What do we got next here?
She brings Marty or Oscar from Mildred Pierce.
I love that.
Saying she wants another one.
Yeah, and basically says that there's nothing out there right now or Marty says to her, I send you scripts, there's nothing that you want. And there's no good part that Joan's going to want unless she wants to play, was it Elvis's grandmother or something?
Exactly.
Like that.
Yeah. And then she pretty much says, okay, or it says to herself, like, I gotta do this myself.
Yeah, you'll have to find yourself.
And sends Mamacita.
Her, which was a real person.
Yeah.
Out, and Mamacita goes to the library and she checks out a bunch of books, Baby Jane. And we meet Bob Aldrich in the next scene.
Yes.
And the secretary gives him Baby Jane that was sent over by Joan Crawford, along with that cooler of Pepsi Cola.
Yeah.
Stay cool.
Yeah.
I loved that.
I do want to go back to one quote because I really liked it, and I feel like you would too.
Yeah.
When they were talking about how, like, there's only three women fall into three categories: ingenues, mothers, and gorgons. Which gorgons apparently is just like a cold bitch. But then they talk about Joan struggling financially and talking to the gardener.
I love that part.
I told him it is an honor to prune Mrs. Crawford's bush.
I laughed so hard at that. That was so good.
Such a good line. I couldn't go over that. And Mamacita was actually German. Mm-hmm. And she actually got the name Mamacita because of a trip that Joan went on to Rio de Janeiro. And everybody was calling people Mamacita, so she came back and called her Mamacita, and it stuck.
That's so funny. I wondered, like, this woman does not look like
Mamacita.
That's why.
Yeah, I had to look it up just because I'm like, what is she calling her Mamacita?
Poor Mamacita's probably like rolling her eyes, like, God damn, it's hard enough working for this woman.
Seriously.
But basically, I'm sorry, but there's just my 14-year-old pug snoring in the background, and he's old.
He's a scene stealer. Let's just talk about it.
So this isn't true, this next scene, where it intimates that Joan Crawford is recommending Bette Davis for the part. In real life, Bob had to talk her into it.
Bob says he had done it, right?
Yeah, and that they were both supposed to go and see her, but for whatever reason he couldn't, so she had to go by herself. So I thought that was kind of funny that they would... Maybe they're trying to make you like Joan.
I thought the same thing, and then if you notice in that scene, he goes, well, do you have anybody in mind? And she does not say Bette Davis. She just looks at him like, yes, I do. And then she goes, sees Bette Davis.
Maybe it was someone else.
No, that's their way of getting away with an unconfirmed piece of knowledge and kind of guiding it, in my opinion, to make it work. Yeah. To where it's like, we don't really know who did that, but we're going to allude that it was probably Joan.
Yes. Huh. So Joan goes to see Bette Davis on Broadway, and that play looked terrible.
The Night of the Iguana by Tennessee Williams.
I have something funny coming up about Tennessee Williams later. That is so strange.
Really?
Yes, I didn't realize he wrote that. You're like, Tennessee Williams is a woman.
Isn't it?
Is she?
Isn't it? you were right on the money with the look on my face. Isn't it?
Oh my God.
It's okay. He's great. You're thinking of...
I promise
No.
I knew that.
You're thinking of William Tennessee's.
That's what I'm thinking
That's
of.
don't worry. Let's move on.
Who wrote The Glass Menagerie? Was that Tennessee Williams?
Williams, Tennessee.
It was?
Yes.
Williams, Tennessee?
I'm joking.
I'm so fucking stupid.
Stop flatulating.
Joan's here to see you. You've got to be fucking kidding me. That's the first time we hear that word.
I love that. And she looks so much like Bette Davis. Like, she really looks the part.
She has considered playing Bette Davis in the past, but there was never a good script.
Well, she got it because it's awesome.
I mean, I was going to bring this up later, but this cast.
Her mannerisms, her voice. Like, when they do the part... I'm sorry, I'm going to jump ahead a little bit.
It doesn't matter. We don't need to go scene by scene.
Okay, so when they do the part where... you aren't ever gonna leave this house. Like, she had that voice down pat. Like, because you and I watched Whatever Happened to Baby Jane within 24 hours of watching Feud.
Yes.
Susan Sarandon, like, I already love Jessica Lange, so I can't talk her up enough. But Susan Sarandon in this, holy shit, her walk, her talk, like, everything. It's just so good.
Jessica Lange needs her toe for toe.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
When she's doing the scene, Joan's scene, where it's the character's name is Blanche in the movie, Whatever Happened
when
to
she
Baby
does
Jane.
that, when she's watching her movie.
Yes, Blanche is watching movies of herself. If you haven't watched Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, I hate old movies, and really, it's a really good movie.
It's a really good movie,
and it is scary. It's a scary kind of thriller movie.
Definitely should watch it.
But that
literally the whole intro is the movie, by the way.
Yes, and I meant to bring that up too. That we have an intro, and
we have an intro, and it's a badass intro.
Which this is so stupid. I told you, or maybe I told Adam, that the intro song, I'm like, I bet it's going to be the music from Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, and it was. And I told you, and you're like, yeah. Well, that makes sense. Like,
because I'm a bitch.
No, but everyone would think that. What other music would it be?
I think that I loved the opening. It's just I did. It's
too.
very Mad Men-ish.
Yeah, it was Mad Men-ish, and I was just glad to get one because I love Ryan Murphy's intros, and we didn't get one from American Horror Story.
Exactly.
So I was definitely happy to see that.
Hold on, real quick. We were just talking about something. I can't remember it. Oh well.
I do like that Bette Davis calls her Lucille, which is her given name is Lucille Lasser, not Joan Crawford.
She probably also does not prefer that, and she does it
sure.
She does it on purpose.
Sure.
Oh, that's what I was gonna say when she's doing that scene where she's like, he didn't hit his mark or whatever, and
it was spot on.
That's actually one of her old movies, and with her ex-husband Francho Tone, and she had a problem with the director. So this is one of the things I learned from You Must Remember This. It's like the one part in the movie where Joan and Blanche kind of cross over because the spicy thing she says, she actually means in real life towards that movie and towards that director.
Wow.
I thought that was cool.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Ryan Murphy's so good at that.
He is.
At putting those little things in.
That's why everybody wants any kind of version you can think of. American Crime Story, Feud, anything.
Give it to us.
Yes.
Give it to me. Give it to me. And now, because
American Weather,
they're getting such like American Crime Story that it's God damn it, Bosley.
we have a co-host tonight.
That's all right, buddy. That got such rave reviews that I feel like now he's getting people. God damn it, Bosley. He's getting people considering doing TV that wouldn't have done it before.
Absolutely.
You know? Like, cast is amazing.
Well, because you know what they're seeing? They're seeing all these extra nominees and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, winning Golden Globes, winning Emmys. So he's got the pick of the litter. But I do like that he stays true to his actors that he, like, I love that.
Absolutely.
So she pitches the show, and I do like that line where she's offering her the title role, and Bette Davis says, the lead, and the way she says, you can call it that.
You can call it that.
And I'm just loving it so far at this point.
Oh, absolutely. It's everything I wanted it to be.
Yeah. And I like when she's finally considering it, Bette Davis, when she's reading it, and calls Bob and says, did you fuck Joan? Oh, God. Why don't we take our break now?
Yeah.
Because I gotta put this dog in his cage. She's wandering around confused.
Trying to steal the spotlight.
All right, we'll be right back, guys.
Get your free month trial to Audible at www.audibletrial.com/boobtubebuddies. Why the funky beat, you ask? I wanted to download the book Making Music Your Business, a guide for young musicians, but first, I wanted to see if I had what it took to make music.
English, motherfucker!
I guess some of us just don't got it. I'll stick to podcasting and never do anything like this again. Seriously, swear to God I won't. If you go to www.audibletrial.com/boobtubebuddies, it's a free month for you and money in our pockets. Over 180,000 titles to choose from, like Making Music Your Business, a guide for young musicians. Drop the beat, little buddies.
You know, you're trying to have a professional podcast. You're trying to have a serious conversation, and the goddamn pug is chittering around.
Puggy Davis trying to steal the spotlight.
Yeah, my God.
God, whatever happened to Baby Bosch?
Oh, Bosley, Eugene. We love you, Betty, but don't worry, folks. He's in the other room now, being cared for, not chittering around.
I just imagine Adam in there on the bed stroking him like
The pug.
like
Oh, like Mr.
Mr. Bigglesworth.
Yes, Mr. Bigglesworth. Yeah, he's our Mr.
Nothing will cut my intelligence short like recording a podcast.
I know, right? I don't know what's going on. Nothing's coming out of my mouth. Let's rewind a little bit and get back on track. Where were we?
We're talking about the Night of the Iguana and Joan enlisting Bette Davis for the role.
Okay. Yeah.
And pretty much Joan kind of sums up to Betty that there's not roles out there for either of them anymore. Mm-hmm. And they kind of got to stick together because back in the day, which I think we'll hear Kyle discuss as well, really they had it set up to where they made deals with these studios and they wrote specific parts for these specific actors. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't really Bette Davis and Joan Crawford constantly vying for the same role.
No, they didn't. They weren't ever up for the same roles.
Because they would play completely different roles. Yeah. Exactly. So with that said, she pretty much reaches out and says, listen, there's nothing for either of us.
Yeah.
Not both of us, but either of us.
We need each other.
Exactly.
And I do like that. And then again, that awesome line where she says she's offering her the title role.
Yeah, I love that. It's something like that.
Just the way she delivers that line is so good. And then Bette Davis does allude to Joan Crawford's special relationship with directors.
Oh yeah, that's what I was going to say. That actually happens again, but vice versa with what happened to Baby Charlotte. Joan calls up Aldrich and says, "Are you fucking Bette Davis?"
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Oh, those crazy ladies.
Listen, you white cock, are you fucking her?
And I like that he tells her to come back to Hollywood. She's too big for Broadway.
Yeah.
And we get our first commercial break.
Yes.
Speaking of that, I know we just took a break, but you want to cut to our first segment?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So this is Feud Tube Betties with our buddy, my best buddy, Adam. So enjoy.
Feud Tube Betties.
Try me, bitch.
Hey, what's up, little buddies? Foxman here to bring you the Boob Tube Buddies brand new segment, Feud Tube Buddies, which probably needs a little bit of work on that title, but still. Anyway, for the first edition of this segment, I thought I'd keep it pretty close to home with anyone watching the new show Feud, Bette and Joan, which presumably, since you are halfway through the podcast about it, I'd say you probably are. So our first celebrity feud, Kings of Leon versus Ryan Murphy. That's right, the showrunner of the show called Feud has had his own Hollywood feuds. So here it is. When Kings of Leon refused to allow Glee to use their songs, co-creator Ryan Murphy retaliated to the rejection by saying, and I quote, "Fuck you, Kings of Leon. They're self-centered assholes and they missed the bigger picture. They missed that a 7-year-old kid can see someone close to their age singing a Kings of Leon song, which will maybe make them want to join a Glee club or pick up a musical instrument." It's like, okay, hate on arts education. You can make fun of Glee all you want, but at its heart, what we really do is turn kids on to music. The band's frontman, Nathan Followill, responded on Twitter. Nope, not Twitter. Twitter. Cool. Dear Ryan Murphy, let it go. See a therapist. Get a manicure. Buy a new bra. Followill later apologized for the message, and Murphy apologized to Kings of Leon. I completely understand when artists don't want a show or another artist to interpret their songs. In fact, I respect it. That was Murphy's little bit. Anyway, Ryan Murphy has had other run-ins too. Now, you may not know this, but another rock star on Murphy's blacklist, former Guns N' Roses guitarist Slash, revealed that he draws the licensing agreement line at Glee. Slash said, Glee is worse than Grease, and Grease is bad enough. Murphy's response, usually I find that people who make those comments, their careers are over, they're uneducated, and quite stupid. Woof. Ryan Murphy, bringing the drama on camera and off. Speaking of which, found an interesting quote from Ryan Murphy that I'll close out with. I don't ever want to go back to Hollywood with Feud, Murphy said point blank. He later continued to say that, moving forward, we'll never do a Hollywood story again. So what direction do you guys think he's going to take next season? Write into Boob Tube Buddies on social media. Let us know if you got any suggestions. And that's pretty much it. Thanks as always for tuning in, little buddies. Now, back to your regularly scheduled programming.
And we're back! Thank you so much, Adam. I can't wait to hear Feud Tube Buddies. We have no idea what it says. So I'm sure you guys enjoyed that. Let's see. Oh my god. So I love this. So they're going to go through with it. He's got to find funding, basically a producer.
Yeah.
And he's getting all this feedback to go younger. And then one of my favorite things.
And she's like, what, 1 year younger?
1 year, yep. And
yeah.
One of my favorite things is somebody suggests to make the small character of the neighbor make the movie about.
Like let's make her a hot neighbor.
Yeah.
Let's make it about the hot neighbor.
Bob's like, that's not really what it's about.
That's not what it's about. I do love that he said to Bette Davis that I need Joan to get the picture made, but I need you to make it great. What a Hollywood line.
He knows what he's doing.
That's what I'm saying. What a Hollywood line. Mm-hmm. I'm going to start saying that to my employees.
And the thing is they fall for it. Oh, yeah.
I'm going to start using that all this. I need this department to make it work, but I need you to make it great. Did you believe me?
Yeah. Okay. I want to work harder, for sure.
Cool.
Especially with those big old T's in my face. I do that with my kids all the time. I tell my daughter, like, you know I love you more than Lincoln. And so I need you to do this because he can't.
Exactly. And you just keep playing that game until both of them catch on.
And it works, yeah. It's great. Bob, that's an old move. We all know that move.
Maybe Bob originated it, though, because it's pretty old.
It's called the Aldrich. We meet Jack Warner. Is Jack Warner a Warner's brother?
Yeah.
I knew it. I knew that.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone else would have guessed that.
And
unless I said
referring to Louis B. Mayer earlier is like the Mayer Golden MGM.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. I knew that too.
Well, you'll know. Just listen. I learned from you. Must remember this. I learned all my shit from this lately. So
I like Jack Warner's gauge on whether or not he wants to do a movie. It's like, well, would you fuck him? Like,
I'm pretty sure they still do that today.
It's a pretty good gauge. Yeah. I mean, that's how we pick who we're gonna marry. It's
true.
Would I fuck them?
Continuously all my life.
And
I just love Stanley Tucci in any role he plays.
I do too. He's so good.
He's good. I love him.
He can do like any.
Like I would love to meet Stanley Tucci.
He's like Bette Davis. He likes he does good character roles. Mm-hmm. You know, where there's like a lot.
What's his role in Hunger Games? I know that's such a cheesy example because he's done so much better work.
Good.
But
yeah, I can't remember his name now. But he's the announcer.
Yeah,
and he does an amazing job.
Yeah.
I think it's funny that he always plays. A lot of times he plays gay characters. I always thought he was gay until he's married to Emily Blunt's sister. Mm-hmm. Love that.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you love to go on a double date with Tucci?
Oh my god, that would be awesome.
And I really like. We talked about these lines where he talks about with their husbands, pains in the ass, selfish. Bette Davis ruined the contract system.
I thought that was really interesting.
Me
that
too.
Although she still lost her lawsuit, it still definitely insanely
Affected.
rocked the boat.
Yeah. And then he works his way up to calling her a cunt. And then Bob's like, you're going to make my movie. I'll pay you first.
Yeah.
That was
Poor
good.
guy. You can see him working so hard.
Bob.
Yeah, like sweating and working so hard for it. And he's like, fine, I'll pay you first. And you just see him kind of like slowly turn around. Okay.
What do you call this next thing? Is it a press junket?
Yeah.
What is it?
Yes.
What does that mean?
Well, no, that's not a press junket, because a press junket, I believe, is just like, it's actually, and I only know this from America's Sweethearts with Catherine Zeta-Jones and John Cusack, but it's like where they actually invite the press to see the movie, and then they do interviews and all that. And this is just the signing of the contract. This is more like
an event.
Yeah, it's just like
An op.
photo op.
There we go. And they are just as contemptuous.
I'm showing her a picture of the original signing of the contract.
Look at that fake smile on Joan Crawford's mug.
Yep. Pretty cool.
And that scene was good too.
Oh yeah, the look on her face when she realizes there's differences financially in their contract.
Yeah, I didn't know what was... I thought she's having some sort of demented, like, break.
There are wire hangers on this contract.
But no, Bette Davis is getting $600 more a week than her.
But then I love how she negotiates for $1,500 more.
Right. And then that weird moment with Bob where she gets, like, in his face.
And he's like, you're not sexy anymore. Get away from me.
Yeah, poor thing.
That's exactly what that was. It was so bad.
See, and that's when she seems really unhinged to me. Like, whoa, Joan Crawford, the alcohol has affected, she's not right in the head. And then we get that Kathy Bates interview, when she gives the history of the marriage to Alfred Steele. And this whole episode, I don't know if the following episodes are going to be like this, but I imagine they will be. It's like a really cool history lesson.
I love it.
And yes, they're dramatizing everything, and they're making it entertainment.
It doesn't work as a show if you don't.
Right. But the stuff there's a lot of truth in it. There's a lot of facts of things. Yes, they are made to be for our viewing pleasure, but
It's the same with People versus O.J. Simpson.
Yeah, exactly. And I think actually Kyle at the end, Kyle Etzel, he touches on that too, about how yes, it's a show, so they're going to take some liberties, but at the heart of it, I really do think that Ryan Murphy just try and stay true to
absolutely,
to the skeleton of the story.
Absolutely. And what's funny is over a period of 50 years, you get from Joan and Betty, they kind of have a thing that's not necessarily a feud yet. Mm-hmm. But then Hollywood buys into it. So then there's that inflammation of that. And now we get to 50 years later, and now we're doing it even more. Mm-hmm. It's so funny. It just keeps building and building and building.
Yeah.
But I think that them building it back when it was being made, it ended up turning into actually something.
I think so too.
So.
But I do like that in the end, there's a scene where Joan Crawford says all she really wants is respect from the women in Hollywood. Mm-hmm. I think in the end, Bette Davis did have respect for her. Bette Davis,
they both did. And I think that it annoyed themselves about it. Like, I don't want to have respect for her, but she's awesome, so I do.
Right. Yeah.
That sort of thing.
And I like what Bette Davis said after Joan Crawford died and Christine Crawford released that book, Mommy Dearest. Bette Davis said what a disgusting thing it was.
Yeah.
I liked that.
Oh, yeah. Because,
integrity.
like you said, in the end, they really, we'll get to it, but she even tells Joan, yes, I think you're good. When you're on, you're good.
And like I said, we don't have to follow a timeline. It's tough because we want to talk about every facet of this episode.
Yeah, so she says...
But we can talk about whatever,
She says, let's cut through the bullshit. I don't like you. You don't like me. But when you do your absolute best... But do your absolute best, because when you're good, you're so good.
And she starts to get those tears.
Really?
That made my eyes water.
Because I think ultimately Joan literally was kind of came across high and mighty and acted high and mighty sometimes, but that was really built on a huge thing of insecurity.
Right. And then she touches on it. Her dad left. she had a shit childhood. And I think being brought up in Hollywood, I mean, we know it ruins you.
Yeah.
There's terrible relationships and associations with men, serious trust issues, terrible, I mean, she was crazy. So, you know, that leads itself to insecurities. And she was a raging alcoholic.
Oh, yeah. She admits it, too.
What did she die of? Betty Davis died of liver cancer, right? Or did Joan die of liver cancer? One of them died of liver cancer.
It must have been Betty, I don't think.
But either way,
remember.
it's...
Stay tuned, we'll find out.
Stay tuned. That I love that in real life there was, you know, you don't have a lot of that now. With celebrities just pander, and I'm sure they did that back then too. But I like that Betty Davis was honest and.
Oh yeah, well, what's so funny is again in that podcast, she actually compares Kanye West and Taylor Swift's feud to this.
Yes.
And the way that Betty Davis is the Kanye who likes to take it and egg it on, and Joan is the Taylor can't help herself, but still at the end is like, I would like to be excluded from this narrative.
Right.
So I thought that was a really good comparison because it's true. Like,
it's a trope that continues that we see all the time.
Yeah.
And that we love.
Formula.
As a consumer.
Absolutely.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love a good feud. I wouldn't mind if he did Taylor Swift and Katy Perry.
I want peace in the Middle East, but not in Hollywood.
No, exactly. It's, you can't help but like that. And it's awful, but
it's awful.
yeah, you always want to know who didn't like who.
What?
Oh,
I hate drama. I hate gossip. What?
I hate drama.
I hate drama so much. But what'd she say? Oh my god, that bitch.
I like when she, meaning Joan Crawford, tells that story where she's just ruminating and obsessed with Betty Davis. And who's that? Who's her boyfriend supposed to be at the time? That guy looks much younger than Joan Crawford.
I couldn't figure it out.
Her houseman, her houseboy.
Yeah.
When she's just going on and on about Betty Davis, and she tells a little bit about the story about how Betty Davis hit on her then
Francho
boyfriend.
Tone. You know what his reply to that was, or Joan's reply to that was? Francho Tone always loved her as an actress. But never saw her as a woman.
Yeah.
I loved that line. I'm like,
It's
geez,
such a
they're
nasty-
catty bitches.
Yes.
I love it so much.
But I didn't know, and I don't know if this is true, but that was like why she married him. I thought they were married at the time, though.
Yeah, so did I.
Okay, so maybe that's a liberty, a creative liberty.
Yeah. I thought the same thing. I'm like, I thought they were already married when that happened.
That first day of filming, where they show both of the women kind of waking up, and Joan's like skincare
I even have that. She's
regimen.
got her like perfect. I want to try these skincare regimens that she does because I actually read something recently about that's really like popular in Japan right now about women like literally dunking their faces in ice cold water. And so then when I saw her mixing it with the witch hazel, I'm like, I bet that does work. I want to try that.
My dad is really, really old, and he grew up in an era where witch hazel was used a lot, I think. And when I was a teenager, he would tell me all the time, because, you know, your teenager skin breaks out. Gotta get the witch hazel. Put the witch hazel on your face, Bethany. Have you used the witch hazel?
Jason's dad just bought us
hated
a
it.
thing of witch hazel.
Witch hazel for your face, witch hazel for your hemorrhoids.
I mean, I'm going to go home
witch
directly
hazel.
and get a huge bowl, put ice in it, and dump the whole thing. Dump the whole thing of witch hazel in it and stick my head in it. And then grease up my elbows with some lemons.
My dad
Is that what that was? Lemons?
Oh, yeah, lemon juice on your, which I think would dry your skin out, but...
I mean, literally, I have Jason giving me a good talking to about my elbows constantly. I'm not going to lie. So I really want to try the lemon thing.
There are a few things that give away age.
Are you looking at my elbows?
No, I was thinking...
Stop looking at my elbows.
Ugh, God. Somebody get her some lemons. There are a few things that give away age. This skin right here, I'm pulling my shirt down to expose my décolletage. This skin, your hands.
Mm-hmm. I'm always afraid of my hands.
Elbows. Mm-hmm. So, all right, speaking of, what did you say? Asian, Chinese, Japanese? Dirty knees, look at these. I have been, now that I'm 28, I've been getting more into like wanting to take care of my face skin. Only my face skin.
Yeah.
But, so I impulsively bought the skincare stuff that was supposedly on Shark Tank. I'm like, oh yeah, this is gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
What is it?
It's not what was on Shark Tank. It is from, I think, Korea. But before I realized that, I kept putting it on my face. It's 3 different bottles. I'm like, Adam, you gotta look at my skin. This is amazing. It feels so soft. Feel
3 different bottles?
It's 3 different bottles.
She got some bullshit version of Proactive from Korea.
No, one
is what happened.
One is like vitamin C serum, and one is anyway. It is not anything. It's not real.
Oh, I do that. The clay, and then the moisturizer, and then the vitamin C.
Right, like all this stuff.
Let's be honest. None of it works. Do all the stuff that we don't actually listen to. Don't smoke. Don't go in the sun. And
that's what I love about Bette Davis.
Wash your face.
She wakes up and lights a cigarette.
Lights a cigarette. I know. I literally have that. Joan wakes up and does her beauty regimen. Betty wakes up and she lights a cigarette. I like that Joan greets everyone on set. She really tries to butter everyone up. She just wants to be liked.
Bringing in that wagon full of boxed chocolates and having Mamacita feed her the names of the crew members as she hands out the chocolates. In stark contrast to Bette Davis just coming in with her daughter.
Yes.
Which is, I want to read that book. So Bette Davis's daughter,
you were telling me this,
wrote a book also about what a terrible mom Bette Davis was.
My Mother's Keeper or something like that.
My Mother's Keeper, yeah. And I wanna read that. So many parallels between those 2 women. They really did, like her boyfriend said earlier. They have so much in common. They should get along.
Yeah. But that's the perfect reason in that time to not get along.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, it was just so cutthroat.
Yeah.
Kathy Bates' character talks about. It's just so hard in Hollywood to be a woman.
I totally get that, but what's interesting is Joan Crawford was really one of the first women to have a career as long as she did.
Uh-huh.
There was no women before that. It's what we listened to. Like, I thought that was pretty cool that she pretty much set the mark for that.
I mean, how long was she making successful movies? 40 years or something like that? That was unheard of.
Yep. The only thing I thought was kind of interesting is the thing we were listening to had said, well, but Joan Crawford, didn't do what Bette Davis did, or I forget who else she mentioned, which was go into TV in like the late 70s and 80s. And my first thought was, well, because she died in 77, so how could she?
I do think that she was kind of old-fashioned in some of her views of Hollywood, and I don't think
Absolutely.
that she would have...
If her like one main love was Faye Dunaway, she obviously just like did not know how to transition to the future.
And I'm sure she was interested in it.
And I'm sure as a Joan Crawford, the whole hippie love, like the whole what do they call it? The whole culture, counterculture, the whole counterculture probably threw her the hell off, because that is completely the opposite of what she has grown up with in Hollywood. So she was probably done with it.
The epitome of old Hollywood.
Exactly.
So yeah, I can definitely see that.
Those brows though, so on fleek.
Yeah, I know, that's what you said. Her brows are in style right now.
Yep.
There's a scene in Whatever Happened to Baby Jane where Joan Crawford's head is back, and you can
Is that when she's spinning?
I hate that scene. But
and I love that they have that in the intro, by the way. I thought of you immediately when they had the cartoon of the spinning
in the wheelchair. If I were Joan Crawford spinning in the wheelchair, I'd be like, are we sure about this?
Am I still going?
She probably just wanted to show off her wheelchair.
Just tell me when to stop. And
It's
it's like hours later and they've turned the lights off and she's still spinning.
Bette Davis is like, don't say cut. But yeah, her eyebrows are...
Soups on flake.
What do we got here? Bette and Joan drink together, and then that's when she says let's cut the shit.
Oh.
I do like that after that moment and Joan's feeling validated, Bette tells her to lose the shoulder pads in lipstick, which is very funny and alludes to a different movie that Joan was on where the director hated her.
Yeah, but she did not have shoulder pads on.
She didn't have shoulder pads. He insisted she did, so he ripped her dress, and she just happened to have
like really broad shoulders.
Broad shoulders.
Yeah.
Which slumpy Mr. Burns over here
my curvy girl over there.
Curvy scoliosis back would kill for someone to think I had shoulder pads on. But I liked that nod.
Yeah.
That was good. And a common thing that this happened during the movie that Joan said, you want to make me look bad and I won't do it. And
I completely agree with that.
You don't want to look bad.
No, I'm saying I completely agree with Joan.
That's what I'm saying.
Like that was Bette Davis's goal.
See, I think that I would be more like Bette Davis in this instance and revel in the idea and the chance to make myself look ugly. I think it would be a challenge and fun.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know, that I like. And
I love that Joan finds this role and quote finds this role and knows that she's going to play kind of a hard recluse woman and still wants to look beautiful and timeless.
And that I get too. You know, it's stuff. Well, you and I took that quiz. We took a quiz. Are you a Joan or a Betty?
And both these Bettys are Jones.
We're Jones. So we get it, girlfriend.
We get it.
What do you think? You want to go to our next segment?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So the show basically at that point goes to commercial break, which is the perfect time for, oh my God, you know who that is, right?
Oh my God, you know who that is, right?
Aw, shit.
Nah, bitch, who?
Why do I keep saying it that way? You know who that is, right? Like a robot.
You know who that is, right?
It's so strange. Well, since I asked you last time if you wanted to go first and you said yes, and then I went first anyway, why don't you go first?
How about I go first?
Okay, here's mine.
Okay, so mine is Kiernan Shipka. She is the daughter, plays Bette Davis's daughter, which actually stands for Barbara Davis.
Oh, does she go by Bette?
Mm-hmm. And Kiernan Shipka, actually, you will know her. She's played small bits in Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt and Don't Trust the Bee in Apartment 23. However, you will best know her as Sally Draper, Don Draper's daughter, throughout the entire series of Mad Men, which credit to her because they went through 3 different sons. So, and she played the daughter the whole time.
She is beautiful. She's
Gorgeous.
going to continue to be stunning.
Oh, she's gorgeous.
Lucky her. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of times when you're cute as a kid, you don't turn out so hot.
And I also think that the amount of work she's doing, she's so doing quality over quantity, so it might not fuck her up.
Yes, right.
Like she was in Mad Men a lot, but not too much to where you could see that she was filming absolutely every day, all day as a child.
Yeah, and she wasn't in, I mean, she was in like what, maybe a third of the episodes?
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe.
That's what I'm saying. She does really good movies and TVs, or TVs. Movie and TV.
She does such good TV.
She does such good TV, and I'm just
Girl's
so
got
proud
that
of
great
her.
cock look.
Oh, she's so cock. She's such a cute cock.
What's wrong with us?
But yeah, that's my. Oh my God, you know who that is, right?
Mine is Jackie Hoffman, who plays Mamacita, the German maid who helps Joan, basically in every aspect of her
I
life.
recognize her, but I don't remember what from, so I'm excited to hear this.
Well, you probably recognize her from her stint on Gilmore Girls: A Year in the Life.
Yes, she's she's Rosie, or she's the mechanic,
I don't know. Yeah.
and she also plays the maid that we didn't know was the mechanic, right? Is that who that is?
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
What for people who don't know, Kristin is a crazy Gilmore Girls fan, and actually, we reviewed Gilmore Girls: A Year in the Life. Kristin, one of our best friends, Lauren,
Who's even
a bigger Gilmore Girls fan.
Yes.
She knows every little thing. Anyway, she was also in The New Normal, Difficult People, One Life to Live, but more notably, she acted in and wrote for Garden State, love, Birdman, The Unexpected Virtue of Ignorance, love, and Robots. Don't know what that is.
so really just Gilmore Girls.
Robots. Is that kids movie?
Yeah, I think so. No, that's iRobot.
No, iRobot is not a kids
Oh
movie.
no, that's the Will Smith movie, right?
Robots, I think, is a kid movie. But she's also been in various one woman shows and theater productions, and has played several roles with Amy Sedaris, who's apparently one of her good friends.
Okay.
And she's a stunning beauty.
Yeah.
That was mean. Why did I even throw that in? Like, what a Joan Crawford move. Bitch.
No, so really she was just in Gilmore Girls.
Just, yeah, that's all you heard.
That's all I know her
All right, well, that was...
She was my, oh my God, you know who that is, right? for our Gilmore Girls episode because we didn't realize it was the maid. Yeah.
That's funny. 50 degrees. No, that's not degrees. 50 degrees of Kevin Bacon. God, this game is going to go on forever.
50 degrees of Williams, Tennessee.
You know, oh my God, you know him, right?
Yeah.
You know her? Okay. That was, oh my God, you know who that is, right?
Oh my God, you know who that is, right?
Aw, shit.
Nah, bitch. Ooh.
All right. We're back. They're filming. Jane is, why do I keep saying Jane? I'm thinking of Baby Jane. That's what. Joan is nervous because she hasn't acted in, what did they say, 3 years? And this is like the first scene where she's got to put her money where her mouth is. And then she does that scene we talked about earlier as Blanche. And that was awesome acting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jessica Lange.
It was just right on. It was exactly how it went. Like,
come on.
They're both, I mean, they're amazing actresses for a reason. Like, they literally hit the nail on the head for both of them.
Do you think they're getting along?
Actually, funny that you say that because I read an article today that somebody asked Ryan Murphy about that.
We should save this to the end. No, go ahead. Do it.
He goes, well, normally you don't know in situations like this if actors are going to go method and then it'll actually turn into something. He goes, but I've actually never seen before in my entire life 2 people get along better. There's a scene where Susan Sarandon kicks her in the head. We saw it in the preview for next week. And you would think that actors, even though it was acting, would still just be a little put off and kind of walk away from the scene and gather themselves. Mm-hmm. He goes, as soon as we cut, they started dying laughing.
That's cute.
And that he's actually never seen people as close during filming as them two. So they get along really well.
I feel like anyone could get along with Susan Sarandon. I love her. I wonder, does Jessica Lange do method acting?
I thought she did.
She's probably like, I'm old. I'm not getting into.
She's like,
method
listen,
acting
after all the
awful.
shit Ryan Murphy has thrown at me, can I really do method acting anymore?
Speaking of method acting, that's what Faye Dunaway did as Joan Crawford.
And apparently that turned
Everyone
to
hated
shit.
her. Yeah. I don't know why anyone would want to. I mean, I get it, but the people that do method acting are like, what's his face?
Heath Ledger. Isn't that why he?
Yes, Heath Ledger.
Ultimately,
I think so. Yeah, he gets tortured.
Yeah. Daniel Day-Lewis does it.
Oh, I love Daniel Day-Lewis.
Didn't there's one called like My Left Foot or something that Daniel Day-Lewis did, where like he actually used his body for months and months and months differently, just like his character did. I'm like,
it's just acting, guys. You know, like it's just acting.
Yeah.
Christian Bale, he does method acting, right?
I don't know.
Shia LaBeouf.
I don't know. To me, method acting is like kind of cheating.
I just think
because why can't you stop and pick up?
I just think that if I were,
this is coming from somebody who's never acted.
No, I could see that. I just think it seems like very indulgent. Like I would just roll my eyes and because after the scene, I'd be like, yeah, okay, who wants to go to dinner and get drinks? Cast party.
Exactly.
And they're like brooding in their trailer.
It's like, oh, shut up.
I would only want to do method acting if the role was like,
fun,
drunk, co-ed or something.
Drunk co-ed. So I just see a future of you doing porn.
Yeah, basically is what I
like,
just
I'm gonna go method. Could you please hold on for a second?
It's all these hot girls and they're like, what is that 30-something drunk woman doing? Let's get back to Joan and Betty.
Girls Gone Wild. Okay, so this is after, I think it's like after they Joan does that one scene. It goes to Betty choosing her outfit and her wig and everything. And I love that evil look on her face when she realizes it's
that wig was Joan's wig.
Yes.
Is that true?
That I don't know, and I would love to know that. I just think it's crazy that they did their own makeup.
Back then?
Like, they just gave them free reign to like, okay, you do your makeup, come up with a character.
Well, I mean, listening to different documentaries about old Hollywood, it shocks me that these huge stars that are household names would run out of money. Like, they would just run out of money, so they'd have to go back to work.
Yeah.
Like, how'd you run out of money? You were a huge star. But it just wasn't, it just wasn't that way, I guess.
Did they just not get paid?
I guess, yeah. I don't know. Joan Crawford only left just short of $80,000 to each of her just two of her kids.
Yeah, not the other two.
I'm not
the black market babies.
I'm not shitting on $80,000, but you would think it would be $1 million.
Exactly.
Something. I don't know.
Well, if my child wrote "Mommy Dearest" about me, I don't know if I could even. Well, they didn't get anything. That's right.
The two, Christopher and Christine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, don't you love that both of their names were different originally, and then she ended up changing them?
Yes, I did read that too.
I thought that was so weird.
Very strange.
Like both kids.
Her two youngest daughters that she adopted, crazy cute. Christina, I think I would have left her at the orphanage. Maybe picked.
If she got her at an orphanage, she got her on the black market.
Oh, that's right, black market.
That's why.
Woof. Joan, your daughter.
Joan's daughter. Woof.
I liked Betty's enthusiasm about this process of putting on the wig, and like she's almost like frantic, fanatic about it. I mean, I just think she's doing it to prove a point to Joan.
This whole thing comes across as, look what I'm gonna do. Like,
you're like, yeah, that's what anyone would think, that's why she was doing that. I think that she was really trying to.
Great observation, Bethany.
I know.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Fucking idiot.
No, you're right. I mean, like,
Kyle,
she ate it up.
Kyle listens to this podcast, and then he's like, please take my recording off.
Exactly.
I don't want to be associated with
Palm
that
in face
idiocy.
the whole time. And then we finally, then they go to watch the movie, and then you get another kind of view into the fact that Joan is insecure as hell.
Yeah, bad lighting.
Yeah, like
She walks out.
You're not supposed to be cute in this.
And so Bette Davis cries at her own performance. That was weird.
It was weird. I thought that was weird too. I don't know why.
She doesn't seem that seems like something Joan would do.
Yeah, but not Betty. I don't know. And then we end with Hedda Hopper, another visit with Hedda Hopper.
And I like that the scene ends with the two of them conspiring together to not give Hedda what Hedda wants.
Exactly. I said they put on an amazing show of class with nothing but underlying bitchery.
Right. And Hedda is just like bored out of her mind.
Exactly.
And has to write the article that really doesn't say much at all because they didn't give her anything. And that's how the episode ends.
Yep. Before we end, can I read a quote that I read about that Bette Davis said about...
Nope, save it for next week.
Nope. Doing it now. Bette Davis said this about making Baby Jane with Joan Crawford. We were polite to each other, all the social amenities. Good morning, Joan. Good morning, Betty. All that crap. Thank God we weren't playing the roles where we had to like each other. But people forget that our big scenes were alone. Just the camera was on me or her. No actress on earth are as different as we are, all the way down the line. Yet what we do works. It's so strange, this acting business. It comes from inside. She was so damn proper. She sent thank you notes for thank you notes. I screamed when I found out she signed autographs. Bless you, Joan Crawford. And when I read that, I was like, oh, God. It's just so much goodness in such a simple quote.
It's so good. And I totally relate to that when people are too good. They're, oh, really? You sent a thank you note for a thank you note?
Exactly.
It's irritating. Well, we've talked about this. We have a group of really close girlfriends, and we're all just like a little bit of a bit. We're all a little awful, just a little bit. And when we meet women who are so, this is different than Joan Crawford. Well, we don't meet women that are like Joan Crawford, but with their niceness, it's hard.
Ugh. Because it's not real. It's not genuine. I'm sorry. It doesn't come from a genuine place.
And if it is, get it out of my face because you're making me feel terrible about how awful I am.
Exactly. Fuck you, Mr. Rogers.
All right. Well, that is it, folks. We're going to end the show out with Kyle. So thank you so much for tuning in. And we're marathon podcasting here. So we
apologize for the Big Little Lies podcast.
Yeah, right. We're going to be wasted by the time we start talking about Big Little Lies. Right after this, we're recording Big Little Lies. So
I'll be talking about Joan Crawford towards the end of the Big Little Lies episode.
Totally. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. That's what we're doing. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you next time.
Yeah.
Bye, little buddies.
Bye, Betty.
Hello there, my name is Kyle Etzel, and I'm a Film and Media Studies graduate student at Southern Methodist University in Dallas, Texas. I'm a big fan of Feud so far, mostly because one of the areas I specialize in my research is the old Hollywood era, or what could be otherwise known as the studio system. Basically from about the introduction of sound in 1927 with the jazz singer, until the mid to late 1960s. I had a few things I wanted to talk about with regards to the historical accuracy of Feud, and the actual people that Bette Davis and Joan Crawford were. Although Feud seems to be playing up the popular idea of Bette Davis and Joan Crawford having an epic, decades-long rivalry, the actual feuding between the two of them really didn't begin until shooting on Baby Jane was almost complete. The show so far seems to be encouraging in its audience this idea that Bette and Joan had been competitors throughout their entire careers, fighting over roles and fame, but in real life the two really couldn't have been more professionally apart from one another. This is largely due to the star system that old Hollywood operated under, in which stars signed multi-year contracts to specific studios, who, in turn, created on-screen personas for them to slip into and play variations on in their films. While the show seems to encourage a reading of the two women as being elder stateswomen actors who could easily play each other's parts, this really couldn't be any further from the truth. Joan Crawford, who was a few years older than Bette and had started her career at MGM, had a long history of being a sex symbol and a glamour girl throughout the 20s and 30s, with many of her roles as she got older being dependent on this collective public memory of her as this woman who used to be so beautiful. Bette Davis, on the other hand, was a Warner Brothers player through and through. Although she was the queen of the WB lot, she was never seen as a star who was naturally beautiful, and as such was publicly seen as a sort of tough girl who had to work for every scrap that she got. It's your classic Bette and Veronica dichotomy. Furthermore, I think Feud really slips up by implying that Bette and Joan were desperate for money and were buoyed by the salary that whatever happened to Baby Jane gave them. Although both weren't exactly rich at this point, they weren't on salary either. Because of the lack of interest in producing the film from most studios, they had both agreed to work on the condition that they were guaranteed profit percentages after the film had been released in theaters, meaning that both had a vested stake in getting the film out the window and not messing around on set. I'm really looking forward to where Feud goes in the coming weeks, especially knowing all of the nasty stuff that comes forward once the film becomes an awards contender and when Bette and Joan and Bob Aldrich try to replicate its success with Whatever Happened to Cousin Charlotte. Until then, you can find me at KETZEL73 on Twitter for more musings about old Hollywood, current releases, and entertainment in general.